what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Okay, I'm happy to be here with y'all. I'm happy y'all are here with me. It is your girl Beck, your host. And yeah, welcome back to the Life Unstructured Podcast, y'all. I am really happy to be back. And since it is February, y'all already know what time it is. We are doing the monthly rundown. Okay, and for those of y'all who don't know what the monthly rundown is, it is a new segment that I just started last month. We are just doing a little bit of basic astrology and a rundown of what the energy is giving this month, okay? And then at the end, I give you a couple updates of what to expect next here on the channel. And then we close out and I send y'all some love and energy, okay? Like I said, this is February 1st today. That's the day I'm recording. And hopefully, if I don't have to edit too much, I can have this out on the 1st. But it'll either be the 1st or the 2nd. If you're looking for something nice and basic, good jumping off point, this segment is for you. And it is very digestible and it is very beginner friendly. So let's jump right into it, okay? Last time I used the CoStar website and I also used Astrology, I think it was. And I do a lot of studying, so I studied up on there. But this time I went to the bookstore for my birthday. Am I a nerd? I went to the bookstore for my birthday because I wanted to, and I wasn't feeling health-wise, I wasn't feeling top-notch, so I didn't want to go out. I just was feeling something more cozy, more comfy, so I went to the bookstore. And I got this really cool horoscope book that I'm liking so far. A lot of good knowledge I got from here, a lot of good knowledge I got from Astrology and CoStar and all of the astrology places. There's tons of great places you can get resources, but I really like this book. And it's for 2024, and it has anything horoscope you could think of for all the different signs. So yeah, really dope book. So okay, let's go. I got my notes. Okay, so we're gonna start with what the moon will be doing coming up on February 9th, okay? So on February 9th, we have a new moon, and we have a new moon in Aquarius, okay? And I am an Aquarius girly, all right? I very much am. My moon is also in Aquarius, so I'm loving it. And I was born on a new moon, so I'm really loving it. New moons are chef's kiss for me. And this is also an interesting month for me, and I will also explain full circle why this is going to be a very interesting month in my house. But yes, new moon February 9th in Aquarius, and I'm just gonna go over a couple of my notes for y'all and just bring it down, okay? So an Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that planet is very intuition, uniqueness, inspiration, insight. It's a very highly spiritual planet and very highly spiritual energy. There is a duality to Aquarius. Aquarius energy can be all about, like I said, that uniqueness or rebellion or breaking from the norms and breaking from societal norms and all that great stuff that we Aquarius love. But Aquarius is also into there is a certain type of structure and stability that we also do enjoy, especially in our homes and in our personal lives, which is why Aquarius at times with certain relationships can come off as cold or maybe a little stonewally. Sometimes we can come off that way, but that's because there is a certain level of stability that we do crave, even though we do have this rebellious, unique nature where we love to be ourselves, whoever that might be, in abundance. We love that uniqueness. Aquarius energy is very much that. I can speak to, I have a very interesting Aquarius energy. I always tell people I'm an emotional Aquarius, and they're like, what is that? Because like I said, most people feel like Aquarius can come off very Meh, and we do, and I do. Granted, I do come off like that. to others, but I think in my very intimate space where I am maybe just with myself or with my husband or anything like that, I can be very emotional because I do think that there is a part of Aquarius that craves emotional freedom. And that's because we are just, you know what I'm saying? And if somebody rubs us the wrong way, it's just like, whatever. But we're human and we have feelings. And so there is a part of us, because we are like that, we do crave that emotional freedom. So that also is an Aquarian energy, but we're very flowy, we're very creative because we're air sign. We're air sign. We're also very collective driven because we're air sign. We really, really flourish in collective and in collective ideas. And so while yes, we do love that rebellious, like break from social norm mindset, that free mindset, we really, really do flourish when it comes to coming up with collective ideas for how things should go. It's a duality, but yes, we love the collective in that way, and we love to participate in the collective, especially things that are more aligned with compassion, community activism, and things that are aligned with uplifting the collective as a whole versus individualistic mindset, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit of the Aquarius vibe. New moons are all about manifestation, whereas full moons are about release. And so with this new moon in Aquarius, I just wanted to think about a couple themes that maybe we could, that I could touch on that would kind of help push you in a direction to manifest some things within that Aquarius energy. Okay, so look at some questions I have written down. I feel like in society, a big theme sometimes is to go with the status quo or to do what is the norm, dress how is the norm, be how the norm is because you want to fit in. Okay, and that's cool and that's fine and all, and that's dandy and that's human nature and we all like to fit in. However, one thing that I want us to maybe challenge in a way to manifest is ourselves, our true selves. So something you can think about is like, who is your true self outside of what is socially acceptable, outside of what is the social norm. Who are you? Do you like dressing crazy and wearing funky hats? No? Okay, don't worry about that. What is something that may not fit with society standards but brings you wellness, brings you joy, brings you purpose? And whatever that thing is, manifest yourself to show up in that way. You know, if that takes confidence, manifest that confidence. Manifest that confidence to show up as you are. So really think about who are you? Who are you? Not your presenting, but who you are internally. When you're at home and nobody's watching you and you're just doing stuff and acting crazy and saying stuff, and how can you manifest yourself to do that outwardly? Because then you're living as your most comfortable, your most confident version of yourself. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, when it comes to achieving success, the thing about Aquarius energy is we need passion to achieve success in certain areas, especially when it comes to career and finances. Like, if we have something that we're not passionate about, but we know it's going to make the coins, money is not enough of a driving force for a lot of Aquarius. For a lot. Now, it's not all, okay? This don't apply to everybody. But money, a lot of times, is not a large enough driving force to push us to do things that we are not motivated or passionate about. And an example from my life was college. You know, people just, told me I needed to be a psychologist. My mom was like, if you do psychology, you'll make a lot of money and, you're good at talking with people, you're good at connecting. Those things are very true. But she was just like, yeah, you'll make a lot of money. And, I had my dad telling me stuff that would make money. what they tell you is you go to college so that you can get a good job. You go to college because that good job will provide you with an abundance of money. I was not passionate about anything that had to do with college education. I was not. And I kept trying to figure something out. Like, okay, there's this avenue, how about this? And I couldn't do it. And eventually I dropped out of college. And it's not because money isn't a motivating factor. It very much is. But for a lot of Aquarius thinkers, because we are such free spirits, money is not enough of a driving force for us to achieve our goals, for us to achieve our success. So, with that energy in mind, think about things you're passionate about. What is something that drives you? What is something that you have like your heart beats for? Something that you could do and talk about for hours and people would start rolling their eyes like, oh, still talking. Something that you have that much passion about. Think about that. And if that is something you would like to pursue in your life, let's try to manifest that. Let's manifest an avenue for that. I think a really good saying that I heard, I don't know if this was Erykah Badu. I've heard a couple people say this though. Figure out what you love to do in life. And this is not word for word by any means, because my memory is, think about something you love to do in life. Think about your passion. And then try to think about how you can survive off of that, how you can profit off of that in a way that provides you enough room and space to basically live and survive and do what you love for money. And it's not because you want money, it's just because the reality of the situation is, in the world we live in, money does unfortunately make the world go round, and you do have to go grocery shopping and get gas and take care of children. But if you can put a crap ton of passion and excitement and motivation behind something that you feel like you will never feel tired of, behind that, you can profit off of that in a way where you can afford to live comfortably from doing something that you love. And I think that energy very much aligns with Aquarius, and that energy would be beneficial for all people to think about. And some people are doing that, and that's not to say that college isn't good. That's not to say any of that, because some people are doing that. There's a lot of people who are doing that. There's a lot of doctors who that was what they were called to do. Think of something when they thought of that, and they thought of something that they could do, that they would love, that they could put their everything, all their passion behind, and still make a living off of. It was being a doctor, and they are loving their job. They are making money, and they are healing, and they are practitioners, and they are, and so think about what burns a passion in you, what fire burns in you, and let's try to manifest that. Next thing, I would consider Aquarius to be very intuitive people. And this is because Uranus, that's a Uranus energy. It's a planet of breakthroughs and, like intense breakthroughs and limitlessness and things of that nature. But in order to have breakthroughs and in order to have those intense and immediate breakthroughs, there has to be a certain level of heightened intuition. One thing that we can manifest, that I can manifest, and that we can all manifest, as far as that goes, is meditation. Let's try to manifest some more time for meditation, some more time for looking inward and being in a still place where our mind is calm enough to accept our breakthroughs, to break down the intuition and take the download. And what I mean by this, I'll give an example. I sometimes still do, but I used to have a really hard time with intuition blockage. And what I mean by that is I have anxiety. I'm a person who has anxiety. I'm not gonna cap. And it gets bad sometimes. And I also have I have PMDD and other things, and some of those symptoms come along with anxiety and come along with a certain certain forms of depression and things like that. And those things sometimes can often hinder intuition. And there was a period in time, especially when I was really waking up to things as far as my own power went, and my own strength and my own intuition. There was a period of time where I questioned whether the voice in my head was an intuitive voice or was a voice from anxiety, was an anxious voice. And sometimes, depending on the message, I would just toss it out because I was like, oh, that's anxiety. And I'm in control of my thoughts, and I get to decide whether I'm going to have anxiety or not. And, I was going through that where I was like trying to take my power back from the anxiety, but also shutting out intuitive messages because I thought that those intuitive messages were anxiety. I couldn't tell the difference between the two voices because I had not sat still with the two voices long enough to know the difference. This is what I mean by let's manifest time and space to really sit and connect with our intuitive voice. That is very much gives Aquarius energy, is that intuitive nature and those breakthroughs because of that Uranus energy. And we want to tap into that because who doesn't want clarity? Who doesn't want breakthroughs? A lot of Aquarius is clear thinking, clarity. But if we have so much angst, we're living in a very anxious time. I mean, across the board, it doesn't matter what zodiac sign you are. It doesn't matter what race, anything, gender. We're living in a very anxious time where there is a lot of, everyone is on eggshells together. There's a lot of anxiousness, and that could come from disparity with food, disparity with education. That could come from social issues. A lot of people developed social issues from COVID, and COVID worsened social issues, COVID as in quarantine. And so because we're living in such an anxious time, it has thrown off so many people's intuitive nature. It has scattered so many, and that's why we're seeing so much of the things that we're seeing right now. And so that's why I say let's manifest some time to sit and connect with the intuitive voice, connect with the God that lives within us, but also the God that lives around us. And when those two things connect, that's intuition. The message between, that's intuition. I don't remember what book I was reading. I had to put this in the description or something, but we have to, in a quote from a book, we have to slip into the gap. We have to quiet our minds so we can find the gap. And the gap is the silence. That's the gap. The silence between thought. And in that gap, you find that limitless knowledge. You find that intuition. We have to manifest a certain level of quiet so that we can reconnect with our own intuition. And then another thing I want us to think about is collective, because like I said, Aquarius it's the air between us all. It connects us all. The air we breathe has been taken in and exhaled by others around us, by many people, many ancestors, and many countries, and many tribes, and many, this air connects us all. And so this is a good energy to put forward to the collective. So think right now about something that you would like to do that is collective driven, whether that's clothes drive, donating books, you know what I'm saying? You could do mission work. I mean, that's a big step. But even just collective in your community, picking up trash, shoveling your elderly neighbor's driveway. This is a great time to think about that and maybe even put that into action and just use that collective Aquarius energy to drive that forward. Good energy is good energy is good energy, and we want to put that out because that saying, you are what you eat, you know what I mean? The universe is feeding us, and in turn, we are feeding the universe. A lot of us in this time that we're living in, We talk about like the things that we're sick and tired of, we're sick and tired of, we're sick and tired of. And if we are trying to create a environment around us that is better, that is for the better, we have to feed that. We have to feed that. We are what we eat. If we are living in this relationship with the universe where we are feeding the universe and the universe is simultaneously feeding us, it is our responsibility to feed good things to the universe so that we can consume good things, so that we can be good things. You feed wellness, you feed light. We receive that back and we are that. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so I'm gonna move on because I spent a lot of time on this. Let's move on to our full moon for this month. Okay, our full moon on February 24th will be a full moon in Virgo. Okay, and this is where I'm gonna break down. This is where I'm going to break down why my house is about to be a very interesting house this month. Like I said, if you remember, I was born on a new moon. I am also an Aquarius moon. I am an Aquarius. So I'm an Aquarius with an Aquarius moon born on a new moon. Okay? Keep that in mind. Okay? My husband is a Virgo. And the full moon on the 24th will be in Virgo. And not only that, my husband was also born on a full moon. And it's interesting because in my house, things always get intense around the full moon between me and my husband. And full moons tend to do that for people in general. But sometimes I think things get a little more shifty for us because I am a new moon child. Do you get what I'm saying? That is a full moon child out there. And so, yes, it's going to be an interesting month. Okay, let's move along. So yes, our full moon in Virgo on February 24th. Now, full moons are all about release. Full moons are all about release. New moons are all about manifesting. We want to bring in because we are starting anew. Full moons are the closing out of a moon cycle. So it's about release. Okay? And a little bit about Virgo energy, because I'm surrounded by Virgos. My daughter is also a Virgo. My husband is a Virgo. My daughter is a Virgo. One of my brothers is a Virgo. My best friend from middle school and high school is a Virgo. I am just an Aquarius surrounded by Virgos. Virgo energy is they're very organizational. They're very analytical. They can also be very independent at times, sometimes hyper independent. Virgos are very logical. They think from a logical standpoint. They have emotions. Don't get me wrong. They have emotions, but they are very logical. But they are very strong. And when we tend to be very strong, our emotions don't shine through as much. I think that a lot of our softer emotions when it comes to Virgo energy is left on the back burner for them to deal with. It's kind of interesting because Virgos and Aquarius are kind of similar in that way of not really wanting to show emotion on the surface. Not really wanting to show emotion on the surface, which when an Aquarius marries a Virgo can be difficult with conversations, but that's neither here nor there. They like to be, they're kind of recluse. A lot of them, even if they are like celebrity status, where they are really big names in the world and can bring out crowds, they are still very recluse. I mean, Beyonce is a great example of a Virgo who is on the main stage, hundreds of thousands of people, but also very recluse. So they tend to be very just to themselves. Like I said, very strong in a good way and sometimes in a detrimental way. And that is kind of the duality of it. Strong, but maybe sometimes too strong, but very loyal very caring, very like, I'll do anything for the person I love. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, they are very loyal in that sense. And their duality, they have a lot of duality also, because they can be very loyal, but sometimes their loyalty and the strength of their loyalty can trickle over into possessiveness. Sometimes, because Virgos are also kind of similar to Aquarius in a way of like, they can be done with someone and just be done. Like, they can just be like, you know, but when they really love, they really love, and they show love in their own way. And they show love through loyalty. They show love through like really being committed and really being down for somebody, like 10 toes type of level. Like, that's how they show their love. And in an intimate setting, they love connection. And I think that's why I said, like, a lot of that stuff, it's kind of like Oz, and a lot of the lovey-dovey connection, physical touch stuff is very much like behind the curtain of Oz. And when the curtain is down, they have that big energy. They have that confidence. The confidence almost, you can almost like smell the confidence on them. They just reek of confidence, and sometimes not even in a bad way. Sometimes, but sometimes it's just like you can smell that confidence on them. Cat Williams is confident. Okay. Michael Jackson, confidence. Okay. Beyonce, confidence. Like, you can feel it. It's like they have a aura of confidence, an aura of strength, an aura of like, they have it. They have that it factor aura, but they're also to themselves. And so they also have that duality of humble. They also do give humble at times, because they are also to themselves. Now, some Virgos are not as humble as others. And like I said, that's very much full chart. You got to look at somebody's full chart. But that's just a breakdown of Virgo. And before I get into these questions, I want to say really, really, really quickly, when it comes to these energies of Aquarius and Virgo in any monthly rundown that I do, one of the most important things you can do is pull up your natal chart and look through your natal chart and look at where you find each energy. Aquarius can pop up in your chart multiple times. Virgo can be in your chart multiple times. One of the most important things to remember is that everyone has every sign in their chart. And it may not be directly in your chart, but each house is ruled by a zodiac sign. So by default, these energies will play on something within your chart. So it is important to look through your natal chart and apply the Aquarius energy and the Virgo energy to wherever you see it in your chart. Okay, let's keep going. Let's do a couple questions here. I don't have a whole lot for this one, but these are questions that are going to be centered around release. Okay. So what stands between you and your goals? Because one thing about Virgo energy is they have those goals. They have the ability to bring in wealth. They have the ability and the determination and the strength and the willpower and the organizational skills to achieve that wealth and that success. But however, there are some things about the Virgo energy that can hinder that. Sometimes Virgos don't always get along with others, and that can also be because of their analytical thinking and their logical mindset. Some people are more emotional thinkers, or some people want their emotions to be more recognized. And Virgos are very blunt with their logistics. It can come off in a way that can rub people the wrong way. That can spill over into a lot of things. That can spill over into business relationships, workplace relationships, and that affects your goals as a whole. In relationships in general, like if one of your goals is marriage and you are having a hard time with connecting because you see things from a certain lens and that's not working well for you, that is something you have to think about. So when I say what is blocking you from your goals, because a lot of things also affect the way that we do things. There's a lot of positive attributes about all of these energies, but we are also humans, and human nature means that things happen to us, and those things that happen to us affect us. And so trauma can affect the way that we communicate. It can affect the way that we go through our everyday life. There is some aspects of that trauma. There is some aspects of that upbringing or whatever it may be that can stand in between you and that goal. And those are things that affect you on a personal level. And even though other people do go through those things and might have similar stories, everyone is affected in a unique way by their own unique circumstances. So I want you to think about some of those things that might be affecting you from reaching your goals. And let's try to release that. And there's tons of ways to work through that and try to release that. I mean, you can go to therapy. You can do there's a lot of release rituals and spirituality that you can do. I was listening to a sister talk this morning about, she was trying to tell her sister girl, she was like, you need to release that's weighing on you. Go take a bath, cry in the bath, sit in the bath, release the energy in the bath, get out and let that water drain. And when that water drains, you release that. You let that go. You can do things to release at any time, but when you do things to release on full moons, it's amplified. So full moons are an amazing time to do release rituals. Think about how you can release the things that are blocking you from your goals. Energy wants to flow. That's how I can put it. It's like water. Water wants to flow. Energy wants to flow. You put a dam in the water, it's going to create a blockage. You release that dam, you knock that dam down, the water is going to flow. The energy is going to flow because it wants to. I mean, sometimes even over time, the water itself can break a dam. You get what I'm saying? It's all amplifying. And this is coming from a basics standpoint. And so it's all amplifying, right? So if you have goals, you don't have to be a Virgo to do any of this. You have goals. Everybody has goals. But one thing about a Virgo is they are going to make sure they go get that goal, right? And they have big goal-oriented energy. They do. And so when you think about what you are going to release to move the blockage, to break that dam, right? And then you apply it, because you put that Virgo energy behind it, that water will flow. That energy will flow. It will amplify it to make sure that you can get that energy to flow. You can get that success to come. You can do release at any time. But because of that Virgo energy and because of that full moon release, okay, that was just like a side note. How can we be more open? Something kind of about Virgo energy is Virgos tend to seem or be closed off. And I think, like I said, that comes down to they are analyzing. And sometimes they are so analytical that they don't see certain nuances. I'll give you an example. So my husband is a bodybuilder, right? He's a bodybuilder. And I went to Walmart the other day and I found, first of all, no promo, but I found these jars of something I saw online called Fit Butter. And they're just like jars of like cashew butter, and it's cookie. There's some of them are like cookie flavored. One of them was chocolate chip cookie dough, but it's It's like cashew butter. So I saw that and I was like, yo, look at this fit butter. Like, this is kind of cool. Like, it would be kind of cool for like a snack, and it's like fun and it's something different. And it has like other tastes and a different texture. You could put it like on popcorn or something. Like, it's pretty cool. And because he is so analytical, he was like, it only has this much protein, and a scoop of protein powder is this much protein. So just get protein powder. But I'm like, yeah, but the protein powder is not going to taste like chocolate chip cookie dough. And this is going to taste like chocolate chip cookie dough. And it's fun, and it's different, and it's new, and it's exciting. You can just, put it on something just throughout the day. But it's butter. It's in a butter form, and I could just eat one spoon, and I think it was like 2 tablespoons was like a serving, and it's tasty. It's like a fun little like treat. And he's like, you could just use protein powder. And I'm like, yeah, you could. And he's like, it's the same amount of protein. I'm like, okay. So that's what I mean by sometimes they are so analytical that it can come off as close-minded. He did the analysis in his mind that they were practically the same, and so there was no need for it. And there was no need to even fathom trying it. And so because he did the analytics, it closed him off to the idea. So this is what I mean by let's try to release being closed off, release being closed-minded, and let's try to think about how we can become more open-minded, okay? Last thing here about Virgos is Virgos are also very much leaders. And leaders also you have to have certain characteristics to be a leader. And you have to have a certain amount of empathy and care and compassion to be a leader, right? So we can't set that aside. But sometimes because of the way Virgos communicate, because they're leaders and they can be blunt and they can be logistic, their communication doesn't always come off from a place of empathy or compassion or love. And it's not because it doesn't have it. It's not because it's not there, because it absolutely is. A lot of the things that they do comes from a place of love and compassion and care. But because Virgos are how they are very logistic and analytical and blunt and straightforward, it doesn't always come across like that. It is a slight fault in a communication. And so one thing that we can think about as far as release goes is how do we release forms of communication that are not well and that are also not serving yourself as well as the collective. Sometimes people can tell you, a lot of times people will outwardly tell us where our faults in communication lie, but we don't always, oh look, my best friend the Virgo is calling. I'm gonna call you back as soon as I'm done with this video. We don't always know how to look inward and not take it as a negative criticism. And so the challenge in this is to think about the things that you have heard people say about how you communicate. Truly, like remove your own personal thoughts and ask yourself, am I really communicating in that way? And is that really how I come off? And if that is the case, which a lot of the times it is, okay? And I'm working on learning that too. But if that is the case, how can I release those things so that I no longer have blockages in communications with others and also with myself? Because a lot of the times how we talk to others is also how we talk to ourselves. So how do we release areas of communication and habits in communication that are no longer serving us? Okay. Woo, y'all, before I started this video, I was literally like, I also asked the universe and my spiritual tree, I was like, please put on my heart anything that should be said for this particular monthly rundown. I want this one to be more in depth and deeper and richer than last month's. And y'all, like, it was. it was. I feel like we touched on a lot of things. I want to touch really quickly on the energy for this time. And what I mean by that is the energy of the time of year that we were in nature's clock, which to me, not completely, but is just a bit separate from our zodiac horoscope, all that good stuff. It's just about the season that we are in. It is currently still winter for most of us. It is currently still what some would call the dead of winter. However, I feel like saying that it makes me sad. I feel like it just gives a negative connotation. For me, how it makes me feel. So if this is like a graph, you know what I'm saying? It's like December is the beginning, January, February, March. If that makes any sense. So we are approaching the downhill portion of winter, which brings me great joy because I am a spring and summer girly. I love nature. Nature calls to me. Okay. If you are someone who is dealing with the winter blues at this time, as a lot of us are, and like I touched on in my last video, I hope it brings you some comfort to know that we are halfway. And the last half is truly the last half. In my opinion, I feel like once we get to March and like mid to end of March, a lot of stuff starts to warm up. And on warm days, you start to really feel happy and really feel like yourself. So I hope it brings you some comfort to know that the warm weather it's on the horizon, and we are in the final half of winter. Girl, we have been making it, and we will make it, and we will be okay. So we are also inching our way closer to our true new year, and our true new year is spring. That is nature's new year. That is when all blossoms, all life reanimates in nature. And with that being said, the same way that we do a lot of planning for our new year, we are still in that planning stage for our natural new year. So this energy right now, like I said last month, is very much planning. But as we inch closer to that natural new year, that is when our plans will start to slowly enact and initiate the start of those plans. And so that energy is starting now. One thing for me is I will be starting my homeschool for my daughter in April. And so I have been planning and thinking of all the ways that I want to homeschool her since December. And I did a lot of mental planning in December through January. And since a couple weeks ago, I have finally put pen to paper, and now I am writing her schedule. I am making her curriculum, and I am preparing myself. So I am starting to wake up earlier and create a stable morning routine for myself so that she has a good example of a morning routine for her for school. And so that is what I mean by slowly starting to enact things that will help push our goals forward for the natural new year. So this is that energy for this time. We are still planning. We are still very much hibernating. And there is still time to go within and do all of that very internal work, do all of that very transformative cocoon work before we blossom in the spring. There is still time for that. And so if you have been working and have been moving really fast, there is still time to slow down, okay? And the energy at this time is also very like, let's release. I went through my closet again. I'm going to go through my closet again today, but it's also giving release. It's giving release, okay? It's giving New Year's cleaning. So still decluttering your house, still decluttering your mindset, and also working on our diet, working on our health. I think one big thing that I did the other day, I was taking to my greenhouse and I was watching and listening to this podcast, and it was talking about how during COVID and during quarantine, there was an uptick of people buying, canned goods that were are pumped with preservatives, put in plastic, very processed foods. And that was because when COVID first hit, the shelves were quite empty, and food scarcity caused a lot of angst in people. And so there was an uptick of buying things like that and storing them away and stocking them for long term. However, those foods aren't good for us, and it created a habit where we are now used to actually consuming those foods. And so not only was there an uptick for COVID, but the rate that people are consuming and buying processed food has continued to go up because the COVID quarantine put us in a habit in such a way to consume things like that. And that has affected a lot of people's gut health, a lot of people's hormonal health, a lot of people's physical, weight, a lot of people's physical abilities as far as stamina and, flexibility. And, it has affected people on a large scale as far as health goes. And so this is a good time to declutter our mindset around nutrition and around health as well, because it has been so cluttered for so many years because, we got past COVID for the most part, but then every year it gets thrown back in our face. But then not only that, there's another virus and then another virus and then another virus, and so much stress. And then we worry about the scarcity, and then we're eating just the most processed foods because whole foods are perishable and all of this extra stuff. And so this is a great time to declutter that mindset so that we can actually really step forward on a more balanced footing as far as our nutrition goes and as far as our physical health goes. Okay, y'all. So that is the energy for this time. That was our basic astrology. And y'all, I really love y'all. I really feel like this was a great episode. I had a great time filming this monthly rundown. And please like, comment, share, support your girl on Cash App if you could. Share, please. There's a lot of important messages and gems in here. I would love for you guys to share this and think about and really consider all the things that we talked about today. Journal. Write it all down and get you a journal. I just bought a new one. Okay, my old one started to get a little full, and I had that one for like a year. You just go get a regular notebook. It doesn't even have to be a fancy journal. But write some of these things down. It really helps to get it out of your head and see it on paper. You can go back and reread it, okay? I love y'all. I gotta head out. I'm gonna call my best friend, okay? Virgo, my Virgo girl. I'm gonna go ahead and give her a call. And listen, y'all, this has been a crazy time. This is also an election year, so it just will probably continue to be a crazy time. Love your loved ones, okay? Love yourself. Protect your energy. Protect your home, all right? I love y'all. Peace, blessings, peace.